Welcome to the Z Truth Podcast, where we have transparent, real, and thought-provoking conversation.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Z Truth Podcast, where we come with thought-provoking, real, unbiased, transparent, holistic topics. And I definitely mixed up the T's in that. And if you were paying attention, you would have caught it, but you probably wouldn't have caught it because I just said it. But anyway, I want to thank y'all again for so much support. The listening metrics are through the roof. The comments are off the chain. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram with the snippets. And I'm having so much fun doing the video comments because I love getting back to you guys. It sometimes can be time consuming, but it's a lot of fun when I do find the time to do it. I want to give a shout out to Relax Tune Spa. It's here in Raleigh, North Carolina, one of the best and most affordable Tune massage experiences that you could ever ask for. When you go, make sure that you tell them that you were listening to Z Truth Podcast and you have the code GLOBALZ5 and get $5 off of your massage. And I promise you're going to have a great experience. And also, again, shout out to Visual Dynasty for, again, coming on and really adding the value that you guys do. You guys are behind the scenes, making it look real good. And I know Devon is with us today to chime in and out on this very, very interesting topic, which is everybody ain't a narcissist, but some of y'all are, okay? And we're going to dig into talking about personality disorders, having an understanding of it. And this is probably going to have a few parts, and we may have to come back later on in regards to it. But definitely wanted to chime into that topic because it's a buzzword. One of the biggest buzzwords of the era is narcissist. How many times have you heard that word, narcissist?
Almost every day.
Every day. And it's... Again, I don't think everybody is. Reality is this. I've read so many books on it because at one point I was in a relationship. I won't throw him under the bus, but I was in a relationship and I was called that. I know, me, believe it or not. And it actually made me go into deep research because the thing is, a lot of people who do suffer from this never get diagnosed because of the personality traits and what a person with NPD has. They usually don't go to therapy. They usually don't go out and find diagnosis for it. In fact, they usually are the ones that can actually outsmart therapists and make the therapist, if they're not trained, sway them as well, right? But the reality is, based off what I've read and done research on, there's levels to it. We all have traits of narcissistic behaviors, right? Because really, if you don't know the story, I'll tell you the story because I always know stories. But the name narcissist comes from the old ancient story where this guy named Narcissus was staring at his own reflection, fell in love with it so deep that he was looking at it through water and fell in love with his own reflection to the point that he ended up drowning in his own image. So that kind of gives you a synopsis of what that actually means or what the condition is. So it's nothing wrong with having a healthy sense of self, right? But there is something wrong with if your sense of self also trickles into affecting and hurting other people. So selfishness and selflessness, there's a thin line to that where there is nothing wrong with saying no and being 100% for you first. But it is something wrong if that always stems to the harm or the confusion or the chaotic parts of you. Where I really knew that this was a problem and a topic to talk about was when back a few years ago, Derek Jackson, and I mentioned him very briefly, I'm not gonna mention him long, went viral and he was doing this thing and he was like this relationship guru, right? And y'all know the story. He got exposed doing his thing or whatever. And he was basically exactly what he said to watch out for. That was what he was and what he was doing with his said current wife. It also reminds me of this forensic file story. Are you mic'd up?
Yeah.
Okay. This forensic file story where there was a guy who was a cop on TV, right? And this is kind of given how you say it?
Prerequisite.
There you go. It wasn't coming out. Where I'm leading to. But it was a guy was a cop, and he would go on TV every day because there was a man who would pull people over and take advantage of them, and he would warn them on signs on what to look for when this said person does that in their area. Because it was like somebody doing it where to the point they had to have a news bulletin. So he gave step-by-step what to watch. Step-by-step what not to do. If they tell you to drive this way, and if he has a light and it's not an official cop car, make sure you don't go down the hill with them. And gave the rundown almost every night at 8 o'clock, let's say on a Thursday, for about 3 months, right? Come to find out he was the person doing it. Okay, and one thing with these people with this condition, they're gonna tell you exactly what it is that they feel, think, and that they're planning to do if you listen close enough, right? Same thing with Derrick Jackson, and same thing with like the recent, I believe, exposure to someone with NPD is Nicki Minaj. I don't know what's going on with Nicki. Don't know what's going on. I don't want to compare her to people like Ted Bundy is also a narcissist, but he's also a psychopath. And he's also I forgot the other terms, but he has schizophrenia, NPD, all of that. He's actually, I don't know if I should have a favorite serial killer, but he was so creative but his inflated sense of self helped him in the long run because we weren't really ready for him. We got the reason that we don't have as much as we have today when it comes to stuff like that and those kind of criminals is because of him, right? But I'm not saying that she's the same as him, but they share very similar traits where, Nicki, I don't know what's happening with her, but I definitely think she has the personality disorder. She's a successful woman. I don't know if you would consider her beautiful, but at one point she was. I just think she looks like mechanical now, but she at one point was very beautiful, but we know she's successful and that she does have a very strong following. Because what is her following called? The Barbs?
Yeah, the Barbs.
Barbs, okay. Yeah. I never was a fan of hers, only because, again, I wasn't really in not compliance. Her music just didn't really move me. Not all of them. Some of her songs were hits for me. But I will say that I feel that the way she handled Lil' Kim is what made me not like her. Because typically when you have somebody who was your successor or someone who was before you, it's usually not hard to give them their flowers. In other words, I felt like she tried to show she was giving flowers, but kind of shunned her at the same time. And I didn't like that because I'm a Lil' Kim fan. At one point I was. I don't say that I was doing the things Lil' Kim was rapping about, but she was the first one like them. You know what I mean? And so recently with Cardi B coming out, which I think Cardi B album is lit. I can't stop listening to it. I don't know if y'all listen to it, but woo.
My girlfriend plays it.
All the time?
Yeah, almost every day.
Oh my God, I understand why. I get it. And I'm typically not a Cardi B fan. I'm just being real with you, but her album this year in my life, I felt like she wrote that for me. Okay, it's like, I don't know if it's 12. If it's 12 songs, I like 10 of them. I don't really like Outside and I guess Up. I don't like the commercial ones.
Right.
But it's like the other songs on there, Safe.
Yeah, that's her favorite.
Man of Word, What's Going On, Killing These Hoes, Imaginary Player, Bodega Baddie. I had to like that because if you from New Jersey, honey, you know what a bodega is. You know what I'm saying? You know what a bodega. That's where you get that sub for $3 and it's like this long. That's a Jersey Mike sub for real, but Jersey Mike just charge y'all $20. But a real sub ain't but $5 and it's this big in New Jersey. And you get it from a bodega. Bodega Baddie. There's so many on here. I could just keep going and going and going and going. And she comes out doing her thing, and here comes Nicki. Talking about this girl kids. And the saddest part about her is that she's a successful woman, but that's where the MPD come in, where it doesn't matter because they cannot coexist among anyone who they feel that they're better than.
Mm-hmm.
And it will come out no matter how many masks. They have masks and they wear them good, but them shits will drop off because they get very envious and very, I guess it's jealous. But it just doesn't make sense. Like when I was looking at the things she was talking about, I'm like, bruh, the girl is just taking an album. It's her second album. How many does Nicki have? 6? Or
I don't know the exact number.
You don't know the number, but it's more than 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that alone, I wouldn't have felt intimidated by Nicki. I mean, by Cardi. But she just can't, again, these kind of people have issues where they just cannot, it has to be all about them all the time, no matter what. And to allow people to have that spotlight is almost like somebody shooting them in the head. Okay? And then this even more recent is with Kimora. Now, the only reason why I give her a pass with the Cardi thing is because they've had a beef. They've had a fight. They've had these things. So I can see how that even could be a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, oh, this is just our beef. Kind of like, I do think the Jay-Z and the Nas beef was real, but I also think at the same time, there was a benefit in both of them being able to mash that out. And didn't they come out with a song after that? Like recently, like last 5 years or 8 years, they came out with a song, right? But, so I get the Nicki name, but then, is it Kiora? Am I saying her name right? Kimora or Kiora? Gucci Mane's wife.
I don't know exactly, but I know.
But I think it's Kiora. But so Gucci Mane comes on Breakfast Club with his wife, Kiora. We all know her story for the most part. I mean, I knew her story that when he was in jail, she had his money and flipped it like 4 times. Like wifey, wife type vibes, right? And he comes out about his mental health, a book about mental health. And a lot of times what people don't realize is that the people that never really get heard is the people who have to deal with the people with the mental health. Mm-hmm. But he suffers from schizophrenia, and she's talking about the experience of both of them, the things in which she does to support her husband, to make sure that he doesn't go out here and embarrass himself because of his condition. And then the next day we hear Nicki talking about how she's always wanted to be, how Kiora always wanted to be her, that she made it all about her, and that she's not really supportive of her husband, that she just wants the spotlight and always wanted to be Nicki. How? How? When in reality, again, I'm connecting all the dots, right? The guy who was the cop told you what they're doing, right? The Derek Jackson was telling you what he was doing. Who now are we talking about? We're not even talking about Gucci Mane's mental health anymore. We're talking about how crazy Nicki is because she made it about her.
Right.
She's telling us exactly what she's doing. And so I just want to talk about it for a moment because I don't know if you guys ever read the book, and I know I mentioned this book, but it's called The Law of Human Nature. It's by Robert Greene. A lot of people think 48 Laws of Power is his best book. It's not. The Law of Human Nature talks about the uprising of the narcissist and narcissistic personality disorder because of social media and all these things. And so, not just social media either. It's just the way in which society is today. It encompasses and inspires these people. And so a lot of times the way these people are developed is how they were raised when they were kids. And what happens is something gets turned off with their empathy. And naturally, like, for example, I'm out here and we're recording, and we're not going to tell y'all all the business about our background and all that, but it's cold. It might not look cold, but it is, right? And so back in my mind, I'm thinking about the dog I'm watching and that he might be cold. a person with MPD don't think empathy. Don't have the empathy part is kind of turned off slightly. It's not to everybody, but it's definitely turned off to the people in which they have these experiences where they want to see, sis, and destroy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just read a couple things that I wanted to talk about on here where, MPD is basically grandiosity, like I said, a lack of empathy, the need for admiration. Now, some people get admired just because of who they are, things that they do, things that they say or whatever. But some people want the admiration and they feel entitled without doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, Don't get me wrong, there's some people who are beautiful, but is that it? Wow, it's kind of like, okay. All right, so what else? And there's a difference between, like I said earlier, there's a scale. So I remember reading and doing research where there's like a scale. We all are on the scale, maybe like this is from 1 to 20. All of us are going to be in between 1 and 10 sometimes on certain things, right? But the ones that are like on the 20 area, these individuals, there's a difference between having traits and there's a difference with having an actual disorder. Does this affect your life, relationships, your employment, and the way in which you work with people? That's what someone, that's the difference. Many narcissists were once neglected and deeply insecure. So let me explain that part too, because one thing about me, despite my experiences with them, because I have experienced many of them, I understand them and I might have too much empathy for them, but usually it's a child who something made them insecure. Something made them not discover self. And when you don't know self, and you got to think of a person who's completely a shell. Think of them like a shell. And they're trying to, y'all remember Jeepers Creepers?
Yeah.
So Jeepers Creepers, he would like shrink and then later he would wake up a few years later, he has to eat. So when he eats you, he take your eyes. And then he eat him and he take his lips. And then he eat him. Now he ends up looking like his regular self, but he still needed those parts of those people to make his self. And that's kind of what a narcissist have. They don't have a sense of self. So that's why they gravitate to people who do have these characteristics that are the things in which they envy later. That sounds like a big animal. I keep saying that. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, see me run, understand, I'm out. I'm make sure y'all okay. I'm leave the door open, but make sure you close it behind you. Anyway. So just think of like Jeepers Creepers, where he need the eyes, he need the mouth, he need the wings, he need this. And now he's formed himself. But then imagine you getting these things from these people and now you mad at them. Doesn't make sense, right? Because the deep insecurity part of these people is that because they don't have it, while they may admire it, they despise you for having it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds confusing, right? But that's what it is. And so they usually have a lot of issues with being chastised, or not chastised because we're older, but let's use a different word. They're not good with constructive criticism. They see themselves higher than what they are. And usually people who are secure are okay with constructive criticism. And even criticism, because if it is criticism and it's not valid, who gives a fuck?
Right.
But what a narcissist, like, and look, I don't like getting political, but I think the reason that Trump ran for office is because of that moment when he was in the audience and y'all remember when Obama clowned him in front of everybody? I think that's what you call a narcissistic, it's not blow. It's basically when they'll never forget it. You say something publicly and embarrass them, he will never forget it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I prefer to be around a narcissist like Trump than I would somebody who is not like him, because there is overt narcissists and there are covert narcissists. An overt narcissist is someone who is think of over the top. They are visible. They're not hiding. They're like, yeah, bitch, this is me. And you like it, leave it. They say the most craziest things, right? That you could imagine. And you would be like, did he just say that? That confrontational person, like, I'm not saying that, what's the guy from America's Got Talent? I mean, he does the vote, Simon Cowell. I'm not saying that Simon Cowell is a narcissist, but I'm just using because remember, traits are different from a disorder.
Yeah.
But one of an overt narcissist traits is they will say the things that people have a hard time saying, like, you fucking suck. Like some people can't do that, but an overt narcissist can say that all day. The covert narcissist is scary. That's the ones that be like, hi. Ted Bundy was a covert narcissist. Charming, inviting. There's something that makes you attracted to them. Everyone reveres them. So in the public eye, they're this, that, and the fourth, but behind closed doors, they're fucking kicking their kids down the steps, beating up their animals. You're like, that's them? That can't be them. Nicki Minaj is an overt narcissist. She's not covering up anything, right? Where like some people might say, I read somewhere that a lot of people think Mariah Carey is one, right? But in the public eye, you would never think that Mariah is like this wicked witch of the West. Or some people think Stephen Jobs. Again, remember, when I mention these names, I want you to understand and I'm gonna emphasize traits are different from disorder, okay? Traits are different from disorders. You can have some people have the traits, some people have the disorder. Kind of like sickle cell. Like a lot of my family members have the trait, and there's a few of us that actually have it. Right. Sickle cell anemia, that's another thing. But having the trait and having parts or pieces of the puzzle is different from having a full-blown disorder, okay? So I just want to say that I feel like my eyelash falling out. Okay, so the covert narcissist is what you really got to be careful of because they literally are they're masters of disguise. So some of the things that you want to look out for in your relationships with your friends, potential mates, relationships that you might already be in. Because the one thing is, like I said before, the difference in overt and covert, we all have signs of it, but I think that coverts are the most dangerous because they cover it up. So things in which that you would need to recognize, like for example, in relationships, love bombing is a big sign. I know it too well.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. So let me tell you, I was in one of my relationships, actually my last one, not trying to throw them under the bus, but one of the things we did so much in the first year where a lot of people were like, girl, you hit the jackpot. Like we were traveling. I went to Nigeria the first year. You know, when they, right, anytime he did something, it would be lavish gifts and different things like that. So when a healthy relationship is not usually going to be like this. That's usually not, because if it do this, it's probably going to do this. A healthy relationship should probably start off here and ease its way up because you're getting to know the person, you're getting to know their habits and their beliefs and their morale where you get to that peak. Most things don't just be like a rocket ship, especially if it's a decision that you're trying to make, you know, completely forever. If that's your goal, that's not everybody's goal. But if that is, in my opinion, it shouldn't be, hey, we met today and we moved in with each other in 3 months. Granted, back in the day, a lot of families and people who got together, they didn't do the whole shacking up thing. So they did get married and, you know, but even that, there's a process in that. I even think with them, they didn't decide to do that unless the girl got pregnant. Then you decide, you know, if she's pregnant, we're going to get married. Right? That's a little bit different than there's no attachment of anything and we're just going to jump in and get married. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Because set you on this topic and everything, I don't know if I'm being picked up by the microphone. Still, like, I've been told that I've gaslit a girl or I love bombed a girl. But like, if you tell a girl that y'all in the talking phase and you don't care if they talk to somebody else, if they feel like, but you're still doing certain things because you're getting to know them, a lot of people tell me I shouldn't be massaging girls' feet if we're in a talking phase and stuff like that, but I still tell
Wait a
them,
minute, do you massage feet, Darnell?
yeah.
I love you. But did I show my feet? Damn it.
I don't think you got it.
but I still tell them that I'm still trying to figure out I'm on the fence, and I tell them straight up that if you feel the need to talk to somebody else, because I feel like love bombing or gaslighting is like if I be like, we're not together, but I don't want you talking to somebody else. So I'm just trying to figure out, because like these terms are new to me. And I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not actually doing that, because I don't. Because like if I tell you, you can talk to somebody else, like I feel like I'm not trying to keep you captured and stuff.
Well, love bombing is more so, okay, if you're saying, I think that's just being direct and being clear. Like if you tell me, hey, we're still in the love phase, we're still in the talking phase, so I don't want to make you commit to me because I'm not committed to you, but I'm getting to know you and I want to get to know you to see if you're my person, is totally different than love bombing. Love bombing is exactly the term. Love bombing is you're literally throwing bombs of love on this person, doing the gifts and telling them I love you week one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, telling them you're the only person I ever want to be with. But that shit's a lie, because in about 3 to 4 months, this shit's gonna blow up. That's why it's called a love bomb, because a love bombing is you give an expectation that's high. You give this expectation that's here of who and what it is that you want and you're going to be to this person. And then it's not that's not the case, because what happens, the person that you're love bombing will get to a place where they're so, oh my God, I can't believe that they're doing this for me, right? And then when it goes to the right, or when it gets sour, the love bombing is so deep that you are looking at where y'all are, where now you're in a place of turmoil, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're always saying, but maybe you're thinking maybe it's going to be like it was before.
That's when that dopamine hit.
Yes. And it's like, so granted, let's say if this person did all of these things, but they took me to a different country in the first 6 months, you know, I might be thinking, well, maybe we're going to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of keeps you stuck. That keeps you stuck.
Yeah. So
love bombing is with the intent. Okay, I don't know if y'all have ever seen this reel, but I'm gonna make sure that I find it and put it on our page. So there's a video of a girl and a guy, right? She passes the heart to him. He passes the heart to her. She passes the heart to him. She passes the heart to her. Then he does a little bit more to her, and then she's like, oh my God, I'm gonna do more to him. But then suddenly what's gonna happen is, I'm only using a guy, because let me just tell y'all this, women can be narcissists. Can I just make that clear? I'm only saying it from my perspective because I'm a woman, but women can be narcissists, and there's many of them, but it is statistically proven there's more men narcissists than women, but women can be narcissists. I just want to make that disclaimer. So now the man had, let's say, okay, let's start over. 1 heart from the man, 1 heart from the girl. 1 heart from the man, 1 heart for the girl. Now he gave her 3 hearts, she gave him 2. He gave her 4 hearts, she gave him 4. Now they're even, right? But now what's gonna happen in a love bombing situation, that guy now is going to only give 1 heart. And now she's confused because I've already gotten 4. She's like, well, let me give him 5 hearts and maybe he'll give me my 4 again. Mm-hmm. Y'all with me? So now what happens is he's gonna give half a heart now. And now she's even more confused, like, well, I gave him 5. What do I gotta do? Give him 6? To get that feeling of what it felt like when he was giving her 4 hearts. And the more she gives, or he gives, whichever side of the fence you're on, the more she gives to try to get back to the 4, the less he's gonna give. So now it's a cat and mouse game, where literally the more she pours into him, the less he's going to pour into her, because she's stuck on whatever it felt like when she was at 4 hearts and getting those 4 hearts consistently. And that's why it's called a love bombing, because it feels like it just blew up in your fucking face and it's nowhere near, and you're hoping that you get to that place. And then the other question, gaslighting is confusion. Gaslighting is it's deeper than confusion, actually. Gaslighting is when you literally are trying to change someone's reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gaslighting is. It's literally saying that I did not just say that gaslighting is deeper than confusion. You did just say that. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't.
Is that to the point where you argue them down till like they agree with you?
Right, until you're like, well, did I? Did I say that? No, you did say that. No, I didn't. Well, maybe I didn't say it. Maybe she did. So it's really altering that person's reality, and they don't do it right away, y'all. This is what y'all gotta understand. So like one person, so anybody who knows me knows I don't like shoes on my carpet, period. A lot of people know that. That's around me, come to my house. You know I don't like shoes on my carpet. So one relationship, I remember the guy would challenge that by, oh, it ain't nothing, why do I gotta take my shoes off? Not really making it a big deal, but not realizing in that moment that this person is challenging your boundaries. Mm-hmm. I remember I was in a relationship with someone who tried to get me to eat chicken. Why would you do that? If you know I say, I don't eat chicken, why would you offer me chicken? You're trying to challenge it. Let's see what boundary I can chip away. Because as you chip away that person's boundary, as you keep chipping it away, because clinically it's proven when you're in love with somebody, you're clinically dumb. Like you're clinically not the same person. You're not, meaning, for example, if I go to a grocery store or to a restaurant and the food has a bug in it, right? Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to eat there if it's your first time.
Right.
But if you've been there a few times and it's your cousin's restaurant, you may just go in the back and say it was a bug in my meal, but still tell people to go there, because now you've included where it's very logical, this is a dirty restaurant. You don't see and make logical decisions because you're in love, because you love this person, because we have something deeper than whatever the business is. Mm-hmm. So I know that's a long answer to your question, but love bombing is only if what you are doing is something that you cannot continue doing for the entire relationship. If this is something that you do not intend on doing, nor not saying we all have ups and downs. I'm not saying if you was like wealthy that 1 minute and you have a setback and so now we can't do 3 trips and now we can only do 1, that's not love bombing. Okay, love bombing is acting a certain way to get the person underneath your wing or to think that you love them, and now you're totally a 360s, Jekyll and Hyde out this bitch. Like, who are you? And gaslighting is literally where the person it's manipulation. It's literally where you sit back and you tell yourself, like, I'm really thinking I'm going crazy because I don't know if I said this, didn't say it, did he do it? You could even have video proof and they will still try to gaslight you if they're good enough. Like, that's not me in the video. That's not even North Carolina. Look at that tree. That's a palm tree. You know I'm in Florida. And you're like, the shit could say North Carolina, what's that damn place called? Carolina Ale House. And he'll talk about the goddamn palm tree. But it's because across the street is Bahama Breeze. Mm-hmm, you know what I'm saying? So that's the difference in gaslighting, love bombing. In relationships, a person who is being manipulative, because you can be a manipulative person and not necessarily have narcissistic personality disorder. Like, guilt tripping is another thing. Mm-hmm. If you're in a relationship and the person is making you feel bad because you want to hang out with your friends, or let's say like right now, y'all are recording. I don't know what y'all's situation is, but it's like, man, maybe you always on Saturday have to record. And now you feel bad. That's guilt tripping. Yeah. Because you're not allowing me to be an individual now. You're now becoming more than, not just that. It could be anything. It could guilt trip you in how you responded to them. How many times have you heard women, and I guess sometimes men, but I know women, they'll be like, how did he the one who cheated, but I feel bad. because you went into my phone. I don't know if this is one of any other women or men experiences. You went into my phone. Now, granted, I don't think people should invade people's privacy, right? But, and I do think if you get to a point where you feel like you have to snoop, you probably are done in that relationship, okay? But if you did, and you find something, and then you end up feeling bad about what you found, and you're only looking because intuition or something, and it's not because you want to go out here and treat, because that's another method they do. A lot of times people who have, who want to do things will project. That's another thing with NPD. They will project things on you that they're doing to make you feel bad. Like there was a video on Instagram where the girl is sitting on her phone, just typing. Let's act like this a phone. She's just typing. She's just typing her friend. And he was like, you in here typing? Who are you messaging? She's like, Ashley. She's like, you in here talking to Ashley? You know that's not Ashley. Why you in the room by yourself? It is Ashley. Well, let me see that as Ashley. And a lot of people were confused in the comments because they're like, she's the narcissist. No, she's not. The guy, or I couldn't tell because they were stick figures. The person who's trying to demand the other person to show it because of your insecurities is not right, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to show you this. You should just believe me. If you don't, then this is not the relationship that you need to be in, because we're all entitled to be able to text our friends without you know how. But really what was happening was this person was putting this on them, because projection is just like a projector. Whatever's in is coming out. If I put this piece of paper on here and you've got a projector on this wall, you're going to see what's ever on the paper. And so that's what projection is. It's putting out on you what's really in them, and that's really what they feel and what they do. Just like Derek Jackson, just like Nicki Minaj with you wanted to be me. So maybe she really wanted to be Kiora, or whatever her name is. Sorry, I don't know her name, because she is dope to me. I do like her and what she be doing. Or maybe like the cop who he's telling everybody, this is what you don't do, because he's doing it. So that's what projection is.
What do you think people get confused by some of the buzzwords?
Why do they get confused by them?
Mm-hmm. Like when Darnell was saying, like the girl accused him of gaslighting, love bombing, and stuff like that, even though he was just being himself.
She could have been projecting. I don't have enough information to diagnose her ass, but it could be projection, because if he was that clear, and I'm only hearing his perspective, not saying that you're not telling the truth or nothing, but I'm saying if he's being himself and he said, listen, you can date whoever you want, and if she takes that as, oh, you just want me to do that because you're doing it, versus just taking it as face value. Either she's projecting, or she could be taking something that she's experienced in the past to her new relationship. Because if the reality is, a lot of us don't heal. We just go to the next relationship. And you can't do that, because now, let's say you get somebody genuine like Darnell, who's like, yeah, I'm gonna rub your feet, take care of you, show you a good time, but I don't want to keep you restrained, because I want you to make this decision based off of that this is what you want, and that I want to make sure I'm clear that you are who I want, and I'm not like playing with you, because I don't know, Darnell might be a player. I think he might be a player on the low. We just don't know it. But it could be projection, but it could also be that she's just bringing on trauma that she hasn't healed as well. But because, and this is another thing, we talked about this in one of our other shows, where you got to be careful with clickbait. You might hear a clip that says, this is what guilt tripping is, or this is what, not guilt tripping, what was the word you said? Gaslighting. And it might only talk about one part of gaslighting. And what we do today is we don't fucking read. We don't research. If it's on Facebook and Instagram, we think that's just what it is. No, you have to understand what gaslighting is. The only reason why I'm talking about this, because I done read more than one book and did more than one thing of research to talk about what it is. Okay, so I think that's why. I think people take the buzzwords and use it to validate their feelings, versus accepting that your feelings don't always mean you're fucking right. Feelings are feelings. They're temporary things that we feel to tell us one or two things. That could be telling her, hey, this is not the right direction that you should be going in this relationship, or it's telling you that something's being triggered that's reminding you of something in the past. Because sometimes it ain't always what it is. It could be your own trigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be that he's a gaslighting. She might have been in a relationship with somebody who did do that, and then she found out he was cheating. But she has to understand that, and no one is a fucking mind. Excuse me, can you bleep these F-bombs? No one's a mind reader. And that's what we got to remember when we enter into a relationship with two different people raised by two different people from two different areas, right? And so we have to consider that and understand that. Another thing that I want to mention in friendships, there should be a healthy competition, but it shouldn't be a secret competition. Okay? And these are signs, because sometimes I think, and I remember saying this in another show, that we underestimate the hurt in friendships that we also feel in relationships, because we still allow our friends, and sometimes even closer. I've seen men never do some of the things that they do to their dude friends that they would to their girlfriends. So imagine if a guy friend later in life or a girlfriend later in life, you discover this person is actually not for you. And I read this in, what book am I going to say? This, not Secrets of Happy Family. The Law of Human Nature. There's a story on the chapter, I know it's like page 342. Shame I know the numbers. But they talk about envy and they talk about jealousy. And they talk about the way in which envy drives people. And they usually are from friends. Their betrayal can only happen from people that you know.
Right.
Or it's not betrayal. Okay? And so there's a story in there about a young lady who, I don't know if one of y'all, I don't have my phone, but she is the originator of the story Frankenstein. Okay, and she wrote Straight Frankenstein. Her dad was a author as well, famous or what have you. And she had this friend named Jane, and Jane was her right-hand woman. And so, long story short, her husband and her, she was an independent woman, very strong, right? But her and her husband started having little issues, and he ended up passing away on this voyage that he went on. And then she wanted to go back to Paris. I'm giving y'all a short version. She wanted to go back to Paris, but her friend Jane was like, I don't think you should go back to Paris, right? Back in the day, they didn't have social media. They didn't have teleprompters that said, this is what's going down in Paris, come through. They didn't have that. And so finally, after a few years went by, she went back to Paris to find out that she was one of the most famous people on the planet. But why would your friend tell you not to go? Then, before she went back to Paris, let's say you knew me for years, but now you acting funny towards me. And now you acting funny towards me. And now she acting funny towards me. And she couldn't understand why. Well, what happened was Jane was behind the scenes doing things which narcissistic people do and manipulative people, because you don't have to be narcissistic to be manipulative. She would do these things called triangulation. Triangulation is a method of manipulation where I'll come here and say, hey, Darnell, you know that Mackenzie be eating his damn toenails and he don't even wash his hands when he goddamn cook. You know what I'm saying? Now, none of this is true. I'm just making up shit, right? Then I go to Mackenzie. Hey, Mackenzie, you know that Devon was telling me that you cut your toe, don't do this. Now y'all two are looking at each other crazy, right? And now, but you know who really told me that? It was really Zykira. And I go to this person, I go to this person, I go to this person. Now, everybody is looking at the web of confusion and it's pointed, let's say, to me or to you. Whoever the target is, that's what Jane was doing to this woman. But it took years, years for her to figure that shit out. And this happened in it might have been 18. I don't know when Frankenstein came out. It was in the 1900s. But I say all of that to say that there should be healthy competition. You know, if I go to this place, I want you to go too, girl. We get a house, let's all get a house. Like recently, one of my friends, just got her house, right? And I won't go into details. They're probably gonna hate me for this if they see it. Well, not all of them, but the other person, I won't say her name. But the comment, and you tell me if this is shady, but I just moved into a house like not too long ago, within a year, right? But she just did it like a month ago. And one of our friends said, slow motion is better than no motion, or slow progress is better than no progress. What? How about congratulations and keep it moving?
Right. Like, why does the other stuff matter?
Why would you say that? So again, that moment, that friend, all of us have a moment of, do you look at this and accept this? Or do you look at this and say, that's some shady ass shit? And I don't really believe, like I said before, that you have to cut people completely off unless it's something like, now with her, I wouldn't feel comfortable being around her like that, because you are diminishing my accomplishment for your own sake, because that's not necessary. When I get something versus when you get something that doesn't make sense. Now, does she have NPD? I don't know, but I do know that's a big side of it, right? Another thing at work, people who have to steal credit. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I like to give credit. I actually want people to have the credit because I don't want to always be, I think just in my personality, it's just going to be because I'm a solution-oriented person. It's just how my brain is, right? But I feel like some people will, and you've all experienced this if you're in corporate America for sure, that people do try to steal people's credit. That's another sign. And then lastly, I don't think it's nothing wrong with showing what you do online, but I also do think that there is a thin line between it just being all about you versus, and sometimes it's gonna be like that, but you gotta also understand, like Beyonce, let's just use Beyonce as an example. Some people might say she got NPD, I don't know. But I do know that a lot of people who's around her is helping her to be her. And it's okay as long as all those people is benefiting from whatever it is that they collectively are doing.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I guess an example for the opposite side of that is how, how they were saying how Drake had ghostwriters.
Yeah.
But one of them came out saying he wasn't really getting credit for it and things of that nature.
Right. Right. So same difference. So in the credits at the end, at least put it there. And if it's not there, I think that goes back to back in the day where so many people like Thomas Edison. Do we know Thomas Edison really made the light bulb, or was it his dude that was next to him?
Right.
We don't know that because he didn't give the credit. And I feel like when you have the moment that you don't need the credit is the moment that everybody wins. Now, don't get me wrong. I did have a situation once where I don't feel like you should give the credit to somebody else, but I do feel like in the moment, if you are going to give credit where it's due. But if you need the credit, I feel like that's where, I got to give a shout out to my team, my football team, Gridiron Gang, love them to death, for real. I've been playing for 100 years. When I get up from this seat, I'm going to have pain because I keep playing, right? No, I'm just kidding. But one of the things that we do on our team is we all play a part, right? I know my role in the team. I know the things that I do, but do I need to shout it out to everybody? No, because we have girls from our captains, from Cam to Ja do this, and we got Mo who comes in and she's like the mother of the team. And we have so many different parts of people that help with the common goal of creating this organization. You know what I'm saying? Our coach, there's no, if you look at a car, there's somebody that put together the car, right? But are they more important than the person that sells the car? No, they all play a part. They all play a part, because what's the point of creating the car if you don't sell it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What's the point of the car if everybody plays a part, and when you don't need the credit or want the credit, that's in turn when you actually usually get it. So I think that's something, if I have a ghostwriter, I'm gonna give, there's a thing that happens, if I'm okay, because they call it gatekeeping.
Yeah.
gatekeeping is toxic because you have to think about it. The same girl who I was just talking about earlier, we used to get our hair done at this place called Flo K. And she used to tell us, don't be telling people where we get our hair done at. And as a kid, I mean, I wasn't like a baby, but in my early 20s, I used to think, well, why wouldn't we? Because we don't want people to look like us. And what that does, it closes off the people we know from the person that's doing our hair. Like me, let's imagine me like, I ain't telling nobody about Visual Dynasty because I don't want anybody to get videos like me. That's taking away from y'all. Now imagine me tell the world, it's Visual Dynasty that does my media. Now y'all get 20 other clients, right? And it's because of me and directly, because you still gotta do the work, right?
Right.
And it's because of my referral. Does that give me more or less notoriety? What is it? Notoriety?
Notoriety.
There you go. See? Can't do this shit without them. You know what I'm saying? Does that not strengthen my value? If I'm able to help my network of people connect to this person, connect to this person, connect to this person. But what if I'm gatekeeping, like, let me keep this to myself? You're gonna be fucking constipated, just like how that works. That's constipation of business for no reason.
Like you think you making yourself win even more, but it's like there's no traction.
There's no traction. There's no. Listen, y'all. We get back what we put out tenfold. Believe that. Good, bad, or indifferent. So if you're not going to tell people, no one's going to talk about you. It's kind of like engagement on social media now. The more you comment and react to other people, it shows you up more and their shit, and vice versa. Sometimes I don't be having time, but when I do, I remember that. You know what I'm saying? And so you can't, closed fists never get fed. Closed mouths never get fed. And so, and you trying to steal people credit, you thinking like the shit that happens when you drink coffee. You drink coffee, you got it. So I don't speak. Anyway, everyone definitely shows their ego sometimes, and we all have those moments where we want to be right. And then even me, sometimes I have to, in a moment when I know I'm right, I'll be like, do I want to be right? Do I want to have peace? Sometimes it ain't worth being right. But people with NPD don't think like that. They have to be right. They have to. I gotta be right. I gotta be right. I want to be rich. I care about being right. I want to win. I could care about being right. Because sometimes you have to not be right to be right.
Yeah.
Meaning sometimes it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. It's like, all right, you got it. Okay, that's my favorite line. Okay, is okay this year. My favorite line is as small of the two words it is. It's okay. You got it, sis.
Oh yeah, I know two people who, like, if you don't agree with that point, they're gonna keep talking. They're gonna talk your head off until you agree with them.
Until you agree with them.
So them two together, it's a never.
It's like going back and forth, back and forth. And that's what I'm saying. Like, how productive is that? And so I say all that to say, because we're going to do another part of this, Darnell. I know we said 10 episodes, but this might have to be 10.B, or what is it, 10.2? I don't know.
10.5,
10.5, right. We're going to have to add another one because this goes deeper. But I want to know if you guys have ever experienced anyone with these conditions. Do you ever wonder if you are? There's a guy online named mental illness, with mental... Damn, he's a narcissist. He's a black guy. He used to have locks. He just cut them off. You know what I'm talking about? He was like, hi, my name is such and such, and I do have narcissistic personality disorder. And then he explains it. And so he's one of the first and only people I've found online that has actually, and Nick Cannon recently has come out. Did y'all see that he has NPD, that he's narcissistic personality disorder, how he doesn't have the empathy trait, blah, blah, blah. Y'all never saw those clips of him. But it's becoming more known to go and get help.
That's strange because I feel like he does have NPD.
He did. You talking about Nick Cannon?
Yeah.
He does. He's saying he has come out and admitted that he went to therapy and they have found that he is clinically diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder.
I feel like he shows NPD when he talks to people.
Yeah, he definitely does. But see, that's what I'm saying.
It's
when
probably
you,
different forms of it.
Not just that, a narcissist don't think they're a narcissist. A narcissist believes their lies. Like when they say whatever they say, they believe that shit. like wholeheartedly, okay? And to be diagnosed, and it could even be like, you got to be careful even with that, because people with NPD could be public about it. But it does appear, when I look at him, it looks like he's trying to get better. But again, they good. Like Ted Bundy was good. Ted Bundy, I don't understand it to this day that he used to have people in his courtroom cheering for him that were women. They fit the description of who he liked to kill, and they still was in love with him. Anyway.
Sound like R. Kelly fan.
It's so toxic. But anyway, I want to close by saying that if you have experienced them, understand that light attracts dark. People who have issues with being manipulative are always going to attract people who are very empathetic. So you have to be mindful of that. And when you are mindful of that, you have to, and then if you want to see if you are narcissistic or where you fall on the scale, ask yourself questions like, do I need to control? Can I apologize? Do I manipulate for validation? Because one thing about healing, it requires self-reflection without self-hate. You know, it's not saying that you hate yourself. It's just sometimes we don't like the things that we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate that I say, you know what I'm saying, so much. I gotten better, y'all, because the first episode, I said this like 50 times and I didn't like it. But I say it like 3 times now. Anyway, but it's looking at self without and being real, right? And if you have any of those things, it is a challenge. And I think they say like 95% of people with NPD can't change. Like the percentage is like 10% can change. And I know the statistics suck, but it's still 10%. You can be part of the 10%, right? In closing, I want you to remember this, that narcissism is not power. It's pain dressed in control. And even though I understand that it's a pain dressed under, the control is really pain. It's a person who is empty. It's a person who's been hurt. It's a person who doesn't, who might have not had discipline. You know who else is a narcissist?
Ooh.
Remember Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the blueberry girl?
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't at that age, but the likelihood that later she would become that is high because she got everything she wanted. That's another way you can become a narcissist, is by not ever having any kind of accountability as a kid. Okay? In that moment, she might not have been, because she's not completely responsible for her upbringing at that time. But if she got older, I wouldn't be surprised if she was. Okay. So, and in healing is realizing that you don't have to make others feel small for you to be big. And if ever you are in a position where you feel like, and you're catching yourself, people who create gossip circles, people who triangulate, people who have to try to bring someone down to make themselves feel better, you need fucking help. But again, like I said earlier, everybody ain't a narcissist, but some of y'all are. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I want to just give a disclaimer that mental wellness is a real thing. You definitely, I recommend, whether you think you're a narcissist, not a narcissist, experience a narcissist, that you should try therapy. Whether it's betterhelp.com, whether it's your local therapist, find therapy to make sure that you're not out here hurting and cutting people that didn't hurt you. And drop a comment if you ever dealt with a narcissist, if you ever dealt with NPD, or if you think that you might have it, which would be surprising if you did drop that comment. I'll probably interview you on here. We would love to hear from you. Again, shout out to Relax Tune Spa. You have your chance to relax and get the things, it's a lot of deer that be back there, to get the things that you deserve, and which is to be pampered. And I want you guys to check them out on Litchford Road at Litchford Village in Raleigh, North Carolina. When you do go, make sure you use the code GLOBALZ5 to get $5 off of your massage. Shout out to Visual Dynasty for always doing y'all thing and kind of being in the background with me to have these impactful conversations. And until next time, I want you guys to live your week with nothing but love, peace, and hair grease. Bye.
Welcome to the Z Truth Podcast, where we have transparent, real, and thought-provoking conversations. Your host is Zykira Casado, the author of 15 social media secrets that pay. So let's get real, get honest, and get started.